This is Brother Ron, and welcome to We All Be News Radio and TV, the news-free Dixie for the 21st century.
So there's some weird vibe going on in the air today. That's why we got you on the air today, Judge Joe Brown, to talk about what's going down, not only in Tinseltown, but all around the town, all around the world even. How you doing today?
All right, young man, I'm doing okay.
Yeah, I got to ask you, there's a couple of things I want to touch bases upon, but I just want to get your quick thoughts about President Trump's meeting with Kim Jong-un, the North Korean leader. What's your take on that?
A good thing. Very good. A very good thing. It's always best to keep up a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of what goes on in terms of people saying what they either are or are not going to do has nothing to do with what goes on behind the scenes in diplomatic channels anyway. It's basically for home front consumption.
Mm-hmm.
See, like that thing, for example, he decides he's not going to have the war games with the South Koreans. Well, that might be a way for Kim to save face with his people.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know. See, the truth of the matter is anytime you have a large society, you have a lot of internal pressure, hostility, and aggression that builds up amongst the people in your society. And it's bad when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
So when you set up an outside opponent as a villain, dirty Germans, dirty French, dirty English, paper imperialists, et cetera, red commies and all of this other stuff. What happens is you set up our team versus their team. So people inside your population tend to start being team members, and they focus on the outside threat or the enemy or the opposite team, and they lose track of what's making them mad at home. So a lot of what we are accustomed to is not what's really going on anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It's just fruit thrown out there for public consumption because of the people that want to get hysterical or worked up about something. When they do that, it relieves stress in the internal situation, which, by the way, is a problem I spoke to you about we're having as black people. Unfortunately, we serve a function for the American society. And what that is we are internal scapegoats who do a most excellent job of being vicarious scapegoats, so that the mainstream, when they get all weirded out, feeling oppressed and down and out, mad and everything, they can blame us for all of their ills instead of blaming themselves. You see, right after we had the civil rights thing and we were switching over in the militancy, that was when you had all of that anti-war stuff back in the late mid-60s, and young white kids who found it, implausible to try and scapegoat black kids or black folk anymore because it wasn't the thing to do. What did they do? They turned on their own institutions.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as there's us as an internal scapegoat, it relieves a lot of interpersonal hostility and aggression, so the rest of them can act more cohesively as a collective, even if they exclude us. Bad thing, but it is what it is. So I see, by the way, you got that Fort Pillow plaque up.
Yes, sir. It got up. My organization, the We All Be Group Inc., we led the lead. My mama, she's the vice president. It's a passion project. So we was able to get it up. I mean, like, normally it would take some years to do it, but we was able to go past the bureaucratic red tape and get it done.
Well, that's a good thing. Somebody 154 years after, 55 years after the fact needs to commemorate what happened at Fort Pillow.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be an impetus to take down some of these other statues. Like the idea that America's largest predominantly black city, Memphis, would have a statue of Nathan Bedford Forrest that led that atrocity up at Fort Pillow, where a lot of the troops up there came from Memphis who were massacred. That's just it's kind of hard to believe. But then again, speaking of chicanery, somebody was able to acquire that very valuable piece of property for $2,500, which was a nice dodge to get rid of old Bedford Forrest and his wife, who were buried under that equestrian statue of himself presiding over Memphis. And also another valuable riverfront property for $2,500 to get rid of Jeff Davis.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, he went tranny on everybody. He tried to escape by dressing up as a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, they found that acutely embarrassing and a derogatory thing.
Kind of like Caitlyn Jenner, I guess, a little bit. Or Caitlyn Jenner, like Jefferson Davis in drag.
Yeah, that's about it. That's about it. But anyway, I'm still saying, the other side, the flip side of the coin is, how did somebody for $5,000 get away with about $15-20 million worth of property?
Well, Van Turner was there today as well too, and he said some words at the ceremony.
Yeah, he had something to do with it. I wonder what's a little underhanded and behind the scenes about how you put up $5,000 and get quite a few $1 million worth of property. Why the hell didn't they put it up for bid? I'd have put the money up.
So you think it was unethical what they did, or it just need to be more transparent?
The property belongs to the people.
Mm-hmm.
That's anywhere between $10 and $20 million worth of property, and you let somebody have it for $5,000.
So you saying that the Sons of Confederate Veterans got a point about, like, the process kind of is like a rigged?
Yeah, it's really ranked out. You know where that Bedford Forest thing is? It's on Union Avenue, right there in the middle of that hospital complex. Big park, and now that it belongs to him, he can do what he wants to do with it, and all of that downtown development going on, gentrification, and all of the businesses that would love to be right there in the middle of that park. And then let's not talk about down there on the river.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't even get a square foot of that property for $2,500 hard. But he got the whole multi-million-dollar lot for $2,500. I want to know what the scam is on that one. And he's running for public office.
That's fascinating. I mean, you start to think about it, and you asking the right questions, Judge, and you asking what a lot of people are thinking about the whole thing, including the Sons of Confederate Veterans. Like, it's going to be interesting next month what they do, because the bodies are still on the property. They got the ceremony for Nathan Bedford Forrest coming up. He was born July 13th. So for the last 112 years, they've been celebrating at that spot the Sunday before his birthday to honor him. So it'll be interesting to see what they do this year to honor him.
Well, it's private property now. Let's see what Mr. Turner does with his new acquisition.
Mm-hmm. I agree. It's going to be fascinating. It's going to be an interesting summer. It's already hot, but it's not summer officially yet until Thursday, the 21st?
Yeah. See, I don't mind. It's an innovative way to get that statue down. But I have a sneaking suspicion it was a cunning way to rip the public off for a lot of millions of dollars worth of property.
So do you remember that time where Mayor Harrington sold Handy Park for $1 to Elkington and Performer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was that unethical or shady deal?
You know, I'm not sure. I don't know the details of that one. There are other things that go on that strike me as much more unethical, like the city of Memphis spending $35 million of the taxpayers' money to build Beale Street Landing, to build a huge catfish-shaped jungle gym, a bar, a grill, and a gift shop so that some private entrepreneur could operate it. And he would pay us $1 a year and 4% of the net profit, if any. Or the city of Memphis paying $28 million to a would-be airline, supposedly to bring it in here, give them a building which they sold, and they hadn't even incorporated and decided to bail, but they got benefit of selling the building, the $28 million that went along with it. Or how about Bass Pro getting an $85 million pyramid for $1 a year? They get to hire 126 employees, and look what they've had on their track record for Memphis, Tennessee, right out here on Sycamore and I-40. The big Bass Pro, and the last I went in there, they had 2 black employees. One was a maid, and the other one was a janitor. And a very bad EEOC record throughout the country.
Why does Memphis have a love affair with these lopsided deals? I'm thinking about
because
the pyramid.
It's crooked as hell. Like over here, we had this thing back in the late 80s. Arrington stopped this kind of thing. More power to him. But 1988, when they had that A.W. Willis Bridge commemorating the late A.W. Willis, great man, they had a right angle corner there with a stop sign on it. Well, the city of Memphis sold that to a private developer for $14,600. Just that corner. He sold it back to the city for $6.8 million in about a month and a half, going on 2 months. All of these crooks split it under the table.
Wow, that's crazy.
Now they put a right angle yield turn in there, and now they took that out and they put a roundabout. The regulations say that if a developer builds a development with a certain population density, well, the roads have a minimum width. So he is supposed to donate a strip on each side of any existing road, or build and donate to the city a road system through the development sufficient to handle that development and pay for the roads. Well, the city of Memphis went through, exercised eminent domain, paid the developer for the loss of property, and built the road instead of having the developer do it. See, that's a ripoff. That pyramid, it never should have been there. But certain of the big interests around here owned some property which was 7 feet below the river level. So instead of having that pyramid built down on the south end on the bluff where the river mark is down there, which was supposed to be the same size dimension wise as the ancient Cheops pyramid in Memphis, Egypt. Well, guess what? It's only half the size because it was what it was. The acoustics were horrible as an auditorium structure. And 85 million of the taxpayers' dollars were spent on that. It went bankrupt. Everybody went bankrupt except the people in the big 5 interest in the Memphis area, which happened to be real estate acquisition, real estate management, real estate development, construction material supply, and a 6th one with all of the trucking firms and IC Railroad and FedEx and UPS, the bulk mail center, etc., going to the business of distribution. But they don't have a lock-in like the 7 or 8, maybe 10 people or families do who control the first 5. real estate acquisition, development, management, construction materials supply. See, the game has been in Memphis for years and years to get a zoning variance so you could build where you otherwise could not build something that's supposed to have been in the public interest, but have no long-term plans for it. So it got built, but nothing to do with it. See, Mid-America Mall replaced Main Street. That closed down a lot of businesses for about 20 years and nothing was done with it. It was just taxpayers' dollars paid to these few people so they could build it. Mud Island Amusement Park. It was poorly conceived and a lot of taxpayers' dollars got paid out to the same group so they could build it and nothing came of it. That pyramid is the same thing. We spent a lot of money on this new 5-star hotel right down from Elvis in the middle of the hood now out in Whitehaven. And half of those folk that go to see Elvis would rather be in a Motel 6. They can't afford to stay in that place, but we paid the money out to folk to build it. The thing on Beale Street Development, the basic lease payments to the city, $250 a lot, but those leases have all been flipped over to month-to-month tenancies for almost 30 years. And some of the sublease lessees have to pay $25,000 a month, and the people that have the primary leases from the city pay the city $250. I think the city ought to exercise eminent domain, confiscate those leases, pay them their 1 month's rent, which is all they're entitled to. Give them that notice and take it over and rent them uniformly for $2,500 a month, only to those people who actually operate clubs with no subleasing. That would promote what Beale Street was supposed to have been about it and would make it a bigger thing instead of something, that's not oriented toward what the city is really about now. You have that Peabody Place development, that big movie theater in there that didn't play anything that anybody wanted to see. It's out of business, but the same people are trying to work up a thing with the city right now to have the city pay for another movie house for $42 million downtown so they'll be able to operate. Yeah, very nice, see. Or Chip's Moment. They wanted to bring music back to Memphis. So they take this lame somebody and they build him back 35 years ago a full-fledged studio furnished with the latest equipment, and he's always too drunk to come down and operate the thing, but they built it and gave it to him for free. You see, that's the same kind of thing that's been going on over and over again. Somebody's a deacon in a church that's on the city council, and on Pastor's Appreciation Day, there's a large anonymous envelope addressed to him with a large sum of cash in it. Somebody owns a hardware store or a hardwood flooring place, and there's a large payment that comes in for hardwood flooring that does not get delivered. And then I'm looking at this ballot that they have out right down on the Democratic side. It looks like not a ballot of who's who, but who ain't nothing. It looks like a bunch of amateurs on there with a very few exceptions of some people that you might already know. But the rest of them look like, oh, this is what I decided to do for my social activity for the year. And you got a bunch of people on that ballot who paid no dues. They've done nothing. Let me see what your resume is. Oh, well, I attended so-and-so and I did such. Well, what did you do for the people of this city? Answer, nothing. In matter of fact, the Democratic ballot looks like it's a GOP crossover in the primary, and they put their people in there. Or it looks like a gay pride something going on up in there, too.
What are you about to say?
In fact, look at this boy they've got for running for mayor. The only thing he did was to introduce that gay thing to establish the gay rights thing to the city charter.
Oh, you talking about Lee Harris, right? Running for Shelby County mayor?
His name is?
Hey, Lee Harris. I actually went to high school with him, but I want to hear what you guys say about him, what your thoughts about him are. I'm fascinated.
Well, you've known him for a while. What the hell has he done?
See, I didn't know him that well. I just know of him. He was like an upperclassman when I was in school.
No, well, what the hell has he done?
I agree with you, Judge. I asked a question of somebody who supported him, who works for him, and she couldn't come up with anything.
I said, somebody asked me, I said, who the hell is he?
He's the Democratic nominee for the...
I've been here for 50 damn years almost. I don't know who the hell he is. I know about what everybody's doing up in here. What has he done?
But what has any politician from this area done recently up in Nashville that really represented something?
Not a damn thing. And then look at our 9th District Congressman.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell has he done? He's spent most of his time talking about he's going after Trump. He's going to impeach Trump. And if you look at his voting record, it's either gay rights or it's for this bunch down here, the same ones that have been ripping off the city where they get everything built for them, even though it's supposed to be private enterprise.
Mm.
So what the hell has he delivered for the middle class, white or black, in the Memphis area? Not one damn thing.
Yes, sir. You raised some great questions, Judge. I mean, it's unfortunate that people vote based on what, who they, a lot of us are still on that plantation mindset.
Oh, well, and then here's the other thing that I put out to it. I said, I tell you what I'll do. You want me to support you? You come walk with me through the hood. Well, let's see. No, we're not getting anybody coming around to escort your ass. You come with me. You walk through the hood.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a dangerous area where you're supposed to be representing. So you walk through them and represent them.
So you actually asked some of the candidates to walk with you through the hood?
Well, I won't mention the names, but one or two of them. I said, let's go walk through there.
And nobody has really said yes to that offer.
You can't go through there. I mean, I walk through there all the time.
Mm-hmm.
They see me.
Mm.
Or at least at some restaurant they may eat to. Or I'm getting old. I got a bad back. It's hard for me to walk these days.
Mm-hmm.
But, they used to see me. And even when I was locking some of them up, I'm walking through, hey, what are you doing out here late at night? I told you to be in at 10. It's 11:15.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Judge, and what are you looking at me for? Man, what you doing talking to my homeboy? Well, I didn't ask you. This is A&B conversation.
Mm. Man,
what's wrong with you, man? I'm the village chieftain, fool. You want the chieftain to act chieftain and get I suggest you back off or you listen.
Wow.
See, what the hell are you doing trying to represent an area that you can't even walk through it?
Is there anybody?
See, they got another little thing like the Board of Education.
Mm-hmm.
The Board of Education, which the county board now handles the city thing because this city council surrendered the educational charter, which they need to be held to account for.
Mm-hmm.
They've got an attorney for the board.
Mm-hmm.
Board of Education's attorney. That's Patterson. He's now the superintendent of schools. They still have it, but they pay Birch, Porter, and Johnson $300 to $1,200 an hour to do routine work. Why do they need to do that?
Mm.
And see, Birch, Porter, and Johnson contributes to the Republican Party because the Supreme Court said an incorporated entity can't be discriminated against by You see, they got all kinds of little rackets. Like money comes in the clerk's office gets money, but they disperse it to certain people who do regular business there by a little extra coming in with the check all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Or how about this one? We've got an election coming up, and for 10 years there has been money on deposit, courtesy of the federal government, to replace these D-ball voting machines.
Mm-hmm.
And All it takes is a majority resolution by the county commission, which has a majority of Democrats. So every time it comes up, we get at least 3 black Democrats who vote against it. It's not the same group because they have term limits. And then why is that important? Because I'll tell you, if you know what to do with it, here's the encryption code for the D-ball voting machines. If you know what you're doing, you can determine who's going to win every office on the ballot this time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been out there for a long time, and certain people have been taking advantage of it. And other people have ignored it like it doesn't happen. Anybody wants, you got a pencil handy, pen handy, the deballed encryption key and access code to all of the deballed machines is as follows: uppercase F as in Foxtrot 2 6 5 4, lowercase h as in hotel, uppercase D as in Delta 4. That's F2654HD4. Capital F2654, small letter H, capital D4.
Mm.
So if you know how to do that, you can control the election. All you need is a cell phone, that number, and the instructions on how to do it are online.
Mm.
So that's our election right there. Anybody out there that searches online and finds out what California put out there as a pamphlet, so nobody else in the country would use those machines, and nobody does except Shelby County and Haywood County, you just took the election. You put that encryption key in there, you put in the numbers for the election positions that you want to control and the number for the candidates that is given by the election commission and the percentages you want them to win by. You do the way it tells you on the instructions that are online.
Mm-hmm.
Put that as a text to a third person, and when you get within 5 feet of the voting machine before you put the card in, you press send. You just corrupted that machine that you're going to vote out of, every machine in the precinct within 10 minutes, and every machine in the system in 45 minutes to an hour. You just control the election for the positions that you were interested in.
Mm.
So that's how fair an election we're going to have right now. I just gave you the key to the ballot box. The ballot box is sitting in the alley behind the polling place. There's nobody watching it, and you've got a key, and you can walk by when nobody's looking and stuff it all you want. That's how fair these elections are. So we've got the money up. It's just been eaten up by small increments on bank fees, but some people don't want those machines replaced. So we don't have an election. You know what percentage of the registered voters for the city of Memphis are white? 19.1%. You know what the percentage is for the county? 23.9%. Now let's see if what we get out of this election matches what those figures ought to be. And we don't have low turnouts, Klein, contrary to the fake news of the commercial appeal 3, 5, and 13.
Just feel like really like a divided vote, especially to like while Cohen's still in office because the divided black vote, right? I mean,
no, that ain't it. Don't even need it. I just gave you what you need to make sure anybody you get Isaac Richmond to win if you wanted to with what I just gave you.
I heard that. But like, there's
By
no.
the way, people like him ought to get the idea. Come on now. You've been running for everything on the ballot for 35 years and you haven't even gotten elected a dog catcher yet. Quit dividing the vote. Nobody wants you. You're a crank. Back off and get your stuff together.
Oh, like you
do something else.
Well, Isaac Richmond, I remember when I met him, Dr. Richard, back in 2009, he was protesting the statue on the anniversary of Dr. King's assassination day. It was April 4th, 2009. And he was leading the charge back then. I just think to him, I don't know, he needs some better PR person or some type of person to help him get his narrative out.
That's not his problem.
What's his problem?
His problem's something else. He's one of the classic examples of can't see the forest for the trees. He had a pretty good screenplay he wanted to do, but I mean, he wanted these amateur actors to memorize like 15 pages of single spaced, small print dialogue with no interaction. And it's like, you can liven this up, and make it interesting, and you want to try to charge $25 a ticket, and you're sitting and say, they have to hear it, they have to understand it. No, they don't have to. It's entertainment. So if you want to make a play, why don't you take the play and make it interesting so you can get at least part of your point across?
Mm-hmm.
No, we're going to do it this way. Okay, fine. But anyhow, is what it is.
Yes, sir.
The Democratic Party, for example, has a thing against Dale Gill, but Dale Gill is an engineer, systems engineer. He knows his stuff backwards and forwards. He seems to be the only person on the Central Committee for the Democratic Party that knows the bylaws, the rules, and Robert's Rules of Order and how to run a meeting, but they don't want to hear it. So they go in there and you look at them try to run a meeting. And you go, for God's sake, they can do better than this in the 5th grade. What's wrong with you?
Mm-hmm. Wow. So we're basically like Memphis is like this election cycle is basically a wash, right? It's like a tax write off.
Yes. And then the other thing, let's take Democratic Party again.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Bernie Sanders still in good health. Maybe a year older than Trump. He beat Trump. Could have beat him this time.
Okay.
Except we found out that the Hillary folk had rigged the primary system
and
the DNC to make sure he didn't, because 15 years ago they were going to have their first woman president. They didn't care who it was, except it had to be Hillary. That's like old Henry Ford. You can get a old model T model Ford in any color you want, so long as it's black. You can have a woman all you want, so long as her name is HRC. But, they kept Bernie out, and now Bernie's still there. He could win the election, so they're advertising all of this 20 group of hopeful nobodies and has-beens and wannabes, never will be. And they got Bernie Sanders up there, and instead of focusing on him right now so they can get a good counter for the 2020 presidential race, they're wasting all this time on all of these little, anywhere from the absolute height of absurdity, Oprah for president, good Lord, to Kamala Harris, to, we have to get a woman in, so you put all of them up here and then throw in Joe Biden with his never has been anything self. And, what do you got? The formula for another loss. So they don't like Trump, but it looks like they're doing a damn fine job of making sure he has 8 full years of term. So it is what it is. And meanwhile, by the way, Democratic Party, how about something other than who's going to piss in what bathroom?
But that's trickled down to the local political scene, like you said about Lee Harris's only distinguished or signature legislation deals with LGBTQ issues or transgender issues, from my understanding.
Yeah.
Okay.
And look at the city of Memphis, all the problems this city has, and that's your priority?
Yeah, I also heard that he has a large white staff, not that many people of color on his staff or working for him. I don't know if it's true or not, but it's like he's going for that Obama thing. He's trying to do his Obama. I don't know.
Faux Negro. FAUX, faux Negro, fake Negro.
Lee is interesting. I don't know him that well. Like I said, I went to school with him. I just don't know him that well. I just don't know. None of these politicians to me have did anything on.
If you've known somebody since high school and they're running for mayor of the largest largest predominantly black city in America, somebody ought to be able to tell me something that he's done for the community.
I'm sorry, I'm at a loss for words on that one. I mean, I'm not trying to hate on him. I don't know him like that, but
I know I'm not. I'm not trying to. I'm just look. Forget all that nice shit. See, I like Trump for that reason. He doesn't apologize to anybody. Just kiss my ass, you know, if you don't like it. And that's the way the reality is. People suffer. They lose their homes, their finances. Some folk that shouldn't be in jail go to jail. Some folk that get out of jail shouldn't be out of jail. Some other things go on, a lot of wrong goes on, a lot of people die in the world, and then everybody wants to be so goddamn polite to everybody. Oh, I'm sorry. I profusely apologize for telling the lowdown SOB who's an SOB.
That is an interesting take on it, Judge. I'm just really, it's just like the leadership is, I mean, even the young people they running, like, you know, I know some other people that I've taught in classrooms and workshops and programs. They running for office now. I feel like they're like an old man now, but I'm failed to see how they distinguish themselves.
Yeah, in other words, first off, I said, well, let me put two things to you. What have you done so far? Well, see, I've tried to position myself so I can be someplace where I can make a difference. Well, what have you made a difference doing? Well, you see, you can't afford to jeopardize getting yourself in proper placement to do something. What have you done? Well, in other words, you haven't done a damn thing. Okay, fine. So what is it that indicates that you're going to do? Well, see, I have my credentials. And, oh, hell, fool, so do I. But, you know, and by the way, how about, tell me about your life experiences, even if you haven't done anything. Well, see, in other words, you don't have any damn life experience because you're too damn young. Okay. Yeah, great. And then you give me this hedonistic crap, bullshit, let's call it for what it is, about everybody's rights to be what they want to be. No, hell, let's back off of that. We've had enough of that garbage. How about this getting back to everybody's duty to be what they ought to be and do what they should do? See, because I look at it like this. See, you're a good brother. You do things. You make a difference. Some other folk I know make a difference. I don't hang with somebody that's what I call useless frou-frou that's hanging around on the periphery. Unless they can be good followers or they can be good folk that can do what they can do. And when you get to talking all this, I have my desires and, you know, that's what's important, not what I don't owe anybody anything. Well, then screw you. You know, we don't need your ass because there are enough people that open the doors for your lame behind who thought that the important thing was doing the right thing. And now, since the door is open enough for you to squeeze yourself through there, you want to say you don't care? Well, the hell with you. You don't be in a position to control who gets through the door.
Yes, sir.
And then somebody said, well, Judge, you older people need to train the younger ones up. Yeah, I would if I found somebody with some balls. I've been trying to find some young black lawyers who got some cojones.
They're hard to come by, huh?
Yeah, I mean, look, young brother, these guys got money. And the cause is just. Well, I can't afford to jeopardize my career. That would step on a lot of people's toes, and you know that would cause a lot of pushback. And oh hell, in other words, you just a punk. Get out of my face. Excuse me, just a punk. And if you get me mad enough, I don't care. You might get an old man whip your ass up in here.
I heard that.
Always trying to figure out some lame excuse to not have to stand and deliver or to be reasonable. I'm getting a lot of some kind of feedback there.
Okay.
You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. A lot of interference or something like that. But look, it's like this. If it weren't for some brave people, most of these individuals would not be where they are now. do what they do now. And they owe an obligation to have the same kind of courage and bravery for the next generation.
Mm-hmm.
I see a bunch of selfish, self-centered, hedonistic little punks. And they go through all kinds of rationale. The one that gets me is they become fem simps. They want to use this thing of women need to have their chance and we need to, no, what you're just talking about is an excuse to punk out because what you're trying to advocate gets you up off of having to make a stand and put yourself out there and do the right thing.
Yes, sir.
Well, okay. I just told you a man's got to be willing to die for what's just,
Mm-hmm.
for the right kind of cause. You have a duty to protect and to provide. Well, no, see, women can provide just as well as men can. Oh, yeah, okay. And it's your duty to protect them. See, women are just as capable as men. You're being chauvinistic and all of that macho. No, fool, you're just a punk. And you're trying to get yourself up off of that hot seat where, okay, now put up or shut up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's some people out there that will whip that ass real good if that. Well, see, that's not, oh, no, no, no. See, some people don't want to go by the rules. And you don't even know what the rules are because you don't want to play with them either.
Mm-hmm.
See, there's a point where somebody can step over the line and, man, dude hit him right in his jaw, man. Yeah, man, he deserved it, man. I was pulling for him when he whipped his behind, man. He should have. He hit me. Yeah, you should have been hit. What? Well, yeah, man, I know what the law says, but there's always been that unwritten law that between men, sometimes men have to do what they have to do. Don't need to go kill each other, but unarmed, brawl, nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
That's against the law. Well, yeah, it may be, but it's a poor man that's never been in a fist fight in his life.
Mm.
In fact, you aren't any man if you haven't been.
Well, what do you think about this notion of a rape culture, though? The people say we're living in a rape culture where women are not really valued or they're seen as objects and possessions.
Well, let's put it this way. In spite of what some feminists would like to fantasize, there is a reality known as sexual dimorphism.
Okay.
Human males tend to be stronger, bulkier, and tougher than human females, even if there might be some superficial size discrepancies.
Mm-hmm.
We are a product of a long line of evolution that makes us the ones to take out the trash, to get battered, to kill, to slay, to bring back the big beef.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing about humans. Lions, tigers, puma, wolves, they take down the old, the infirm, the young, and the weak. Humans go hunt the trophies, or in other words, the biggest and the strongest.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that kept us from being in a position of having to compete against lions for the wrong type of food.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes us a certain kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's just set that to the side for the minute. But we take this cultural thing that has evolved in lockstep with the physiological aspects of the human race.
Right.
And human males become socialized and acculturated to protect their females, at least the ones they owe an obligation to, all right?
Mm-hmm.
But now, there's an interesting thing about voting. The basic theory behind voting is instead of lining up and say to each other, all right, we're going to have a battle here and we're going to fight this out to see who's left standing. The side with the most folk left standing or with the only man standing wins. We'd say, well, let's have a vote. Let's assume everybody's got some kind of equality because we've all passed these rites of passage. We've all passed these tests. So you have 25 more folk than we have on our side.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if it came to it, we could see if we were more cunning, we were faster, more adroit at what we did in terms of battle than you are. But why not just say, well, let's take a vote and see what it is, and the side with the most votes wins.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, women didn't exactly take the right to vote from men. It isn't like they put a gun to our heads and said, all right, dude, you're going to give us the vote or you're going to die.
Mm-hmm.
Men gave it to them. And the thing that gets me about feminists, not women being feminine, but feminists is something else, is they presume that they are physically equal, but then they operate on the basis of counting on the deferences that men culturally give to women. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah, I do.
And it's like, okay, if you really put this to the issue of you think you're strong enough to kick our behind, men may have a backlash on this and say, all right, kick our ass if you think you can. Ain't gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we have done what we needed to do to convince you of that, get the idea that everybody's got to be nice. So when you get to talking disrespectfully and all that other stuff, it might go back to the way you claim it used to be, and you wouldn't like that too much.
Mm. Wow.
You know, like I saw this thing. It's been years and years and years ago, 50-some years ago. A couple of friends and I, we had an apartment. It was over somebody's garage. It was in L.A. And there was a big concreted in back, driveway, garage, and then next door the same thing. So there was another couple that was staying above a garage over from us too, where they set stuff up in L.A.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy comes home from work. We knew him, and when he comes home, his wife was in bed with this lesbian. So he goes out and says, look, you tell her to get out of here. I'll get my stuff. She can come on back. I don't want to be bothered with this. So the lesbian comes out, starts talking about she's going to whoop his behind and kick his ass and all of this. She's more man than he is and all of that. So she marches down the stairs. I took your woman, blah, 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 and all this other stuff. And she starts shoving him, and he tells her, you need to back off. And he starts talking about, I'm more man than you are, and I'll kick your behind. So he said, you need to back off. And she kept pushing him. He said, I'm standing here until you leave this house. I pay the rent. She's out of work right now. I'm going to get my stuff. I'm going to leave. You can come back and have all you want. I'm making your BS leave. So anyway, she gets to shoving him. So she hauls off and hits him. Well, she didn't hurt him much. He said, that's enough. I'll beat your behind all I want to. So he took another swing. She took another swing at him. He said, now I said that's enough. That's 2 strikes on you right there. And what you gonna do? Well, she swung at him again. He just ducked it and punched her right in the mouth, knocked her behind out cold. Bam.
Wow.
So he went on left. Police came. She was crying, lost a couple of teeth and all this other stuff. So we just said to the officer, she's lying. She ran into that light post right over there. She was sitting up there screaming at him. She ran into the post trying to go pick up something to go hit him with.
Mm-hmm.
But you see, she brought it on herself.
Right.
and she counted on him not hitting her back.
Mm-hmm.
But when that deference evaporated because of her conduct, and he said, "Forget this," she didn't have a chance.
Yes, sir.
Now, I don't think that would be in anybody's interest for men and women to put it at that point. And I don't think, by the way, going back to that movie I didn't like, the Black Pussy movie, Black Panther thing,
Mm-hmm.
that scene in the end where they had bald head sisters fighting the men of the tribe.
Mm-hmm.
See, the film simps and their co-runners wrote that nonsense in there. And that's not a good thing to have, because men and women of the tribe don't need to be in open combat with each other, because it wouldn't work out like in that movie.
Okay.
Now, one thing I don't think is good is this thing they're talking about having women in combat units, because what goes on in wartime or in a military setup tends to percolate back into the general population.
Mm-hmm.
So to speak, men have been raised since time immemorial to have a certain deference to their women. And, women and children in the lifeboat first. Men are supposed to take the bullet, not the babes. So when you start putting the men and the women, young men and women at an impressionable age in a situation where the girl is supposed to take the bullet as well as the boy, that stuff gets brought back to see. That does not do well for society.
Okay.
I remember I got involved in a thing years ago where 6 homeroom teachers, male, got in trouble because some parents of girls got upset because they were telling their boys that men are stronger than women, so men should never hit girls, or boys should never hit girls. So they were upset that was insulting to their daughters. So I said, well, they just spoke truth. Boys are stronger than girls. And if you don't believe it, come look at this special domestic docket I call on one Thursday a month every now and then when the cases build up. But you see, there are certain realities, but men and women aren't supposed to be competing on that level. We're supposed to be cooperative. Guys like to find their way. And the girls always going, why don't you just ask somebody for directions? I don't understand. Why are you just sitting around going round and round? You know you're not going to find it. But men do that because it's instinctive. That's how we find the game trails, the pass over to the other side of the mountain. That's how we explored the world and did what we did. They like to spend hours and hours in some little shop looking at stuff, and you going, why the hell, just buy some damn towels. They all work the same. No difference does a damn make. They're all white. Hell, buy the towel.
You're right.
But you see, they have that because they gather. They're looking for the quality of the berries, this one's redder than that one, so they taste better, et cetera, et cetera. That's what they do. See, they're differences. Women are just as strong as men. Different kind of ways. Men don't have babies. And you don't go to war, or should. But then again, we got a thing like I saw on Twitter, this woman just had this child, so she got this sex change operation. So now she's so anxious for her child to see her as a man. That's sick. See, half of this stuff is nothing but selfishness. That's that thing about do what you want to do rather than what you ought to do. Now, she's going to ruin that child. And her excuse is because I wanted to be a man. Well, you're not. You are supposed to be a mother. You committed yourself to that. Now honor your obligations and be mother for this child. He didn't want, you're not a hermaphrodite. You didn't come in this way. And then that other thing too, see, you talk to somebody they talk about there's no harm to the children And you say, who said so? Well, studies have shown. Well, there are fewer studies that show there is no harm than there are studies that show there is harm. I didn't see they might have had 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 subjects, but some people like police, judges, school teachers, school principals, they have problem children, let's say they deal with, and then they find out the child who is acting out has two dads or has two moms, and they notice the difference and they'll tell you about it. In fact, they get down, I can tell this kid's going to have two mamas that walk in, or this kid's going to have two daddies walk in.
Mm.
And then they tell you there's no harm. But you see, you know what the flaw in their whole analysis is? Nobody has kept track of somebody raised like that from the time they were infants until the time they got real old and died. There's no continuity. And then what standards are you using to assess whether somebody came out all right or they didn't come out?
Yes.
They have criteria. Well, by these criteria, they're fine, well-adjusted children. Somebody else might have the opportunity to observe them, not even be a psychologist or a psychiatrist, but just deal with people and say something's wrong with that person.
Mm-hmm. What
You know
about
what I'm talking about?
the case with the two lesbians with the adopted black children that George drove them out the cliff in California?
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah, like what's your take on that?
It's just you got people with problems. They hate what they are, or they don't like what they are, and then now society's encouraging them to do that. And just because they yield to an urge to be something other than what they are, grass is green on the other side, it still hasn't changed what they are fundamentally down inside. I tweeted something last week that seemed to have gotten some play. It said parents and others are disturbed about transgenders competing against girl athletes.
Mm.
So they said it wasn't fair. I said, of course it's not fair. If you take somebody with boy machinery inside his body, but with a full girl's mind, that's not fair to the girls. Because I don't care what the person says, they've got a boy's body, but they're competing against girls. That's not fair to girls.
I mean, this is a lot of confusion going on right now.
Of course it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that grass is green on the other side. See, it's like sometimes you just have to tell somebody, I don't care whether you like it or not, you need to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I had one time I used to run into this thing. I got a right to go party. I'm young. I got a right to have fun. Yeah, but nobody told you to have 4 children by 3 different baby daddies either, did they?
Mm-hmm.
What's that got to do with it? You made that choice. Any of them raped you? Now they didn't rape me. Well, then you chose to be a mother, so act like it. But I have a right to be fun. No, you don't. You have an obligation to be a mother. That's what you chose to be. So do it. I didn't choose to be a man, but I am a man. So if somebody is getting in here and you're in my domain, somebody's trying to kill you, I got to protect you. No, you don't. Yes, I do. No, you don't. I can protect myself. I don't say you may be, but as long as I'm there, it's my obligation as a man to protect you first.
Wow.
See, that's what happens with these vanilla boys, these beta soy boys. They don't want to fulfill their part of the man compact. See, men were hunters. We'd go out and hunt something 2,000-3,000 pounds worth of beast, and you can kill it. You know, you got backup. That means if you step on a rock and you slip, the buffalo didn't stomp you because one of your homeboys would sit there and back you up and drive him off. But you see, you couldn't go on a hunt if you couldn't count on your homeboy backing you up. So if something went south, you'd have a good chance of surviving it because you'd have to depend on him. So untested males who hadn't gone through rites of passage, they didn't get to go on the hunt.
Mm-hmm.
But you see, these soy boys, these beta boys, they don't want that compact. They want all the benefits. Well, you can go do the hunting and bring it back, and I know it's delicious, but I shouldn't have to go with you because I choose to be something else. I have my artistic talents to take care of. So I don't want to be put in an embarrassing situation where I might piss myself if I got to sit there and watch your back.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's the kind of thing that's being done here.
Wow.
Like you can be gay, but if you're gonna be gay, be like what was Alexander the Great. He was a great warrior, even if he was a freak. So and then that's the other thing. Let's just face it.
Mm-hmm.
That whole kind of thing. You should never use any slander. Well, a whole lot of folks, want to go off and call somebody the N-word. Used to be they didn't until they got the idea that they could be immune from getting their ass whipped for doing it. People didn't use that N-word until they had misfit mamas. See, that stuff didn't come up from black kids deciding they were going to call each other that. That's from these kids who were around no good mamas who wanted to about, you little hen this, you just like that no good hen daddy of yours, you ain't this, you ain't that, little misfits, number should have been mamas. They're yelling at their children this way and say, yeah, honey, all of them dogs. Honey, girlfriend, I hear you, nothing but dog. Every last one of them, and they say this. That's why young brothers are calling each other, hey, dog, what's happening? That's because the mamas said that, put it in their heads. That's why all of the rappers, they got raised just around mama and grandmama and the aunts and their friend girls that didn't know a damn thing. They didn't have any men around. And they kept getting the N-word, use N-word. That's why it got to be part of the lexicon. That's my, so-and-so. I mean, if somebody called you that, we didn't call each other that. And if somebody white did, if there weren't too many around and they weren't in sheets armed with shotguns, somebody was getting his ass whipped. No, it's just getting absolutely preposterous.
That's interesting. Like, what was your? I guess we just came out of Father's Day, 2018. I know you said you had a good Father's Day, correct?
Yeah, it was cool.
It was cool. And it's like we talked about on this show, this misconception about black fathers. For the most part, black fathers, according to the CDC, are the most caring and most involved on the average in their children's lives. And you talked about how black fathers paying child support actually saved the child support system.
Well, let's put it this way. I don't go to judicial conference anymore. I took a medical, retirement on my law license. But for the 25 years or so I went to these judicial conferences, that's a quarter of a century. Every year we would get into the statistics, and every year, consecutive year after year, consistently, black men pay their child support more reliably than any other ethnic category in the United States of America. But the popular media would have you believe otherwise. See, and that's because they want to have this negated imagery of us. They don't put the positive up in terms of decorum, dignity, and everything else. When they put somebody up who's not made the butt of a joke in the movie or the series, he's always a thug, the drug man, the pimp, the gangster. See. And in perpetrating this nonsense, they always show the negatives. The only category of entertainment where they don't show black men as just absolute scumbags, low down, wrongdoing, somebody that's got too much of the wrong kind of mama in them, is when they have war movies.
Mm.
There was an interesting movie called American Assassin. It was a pretty good movie.
Mm-hmm.
They had somebody black in there, and it was this black woman that was the CIA chief running the assassin.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I found interesting about the movie?
What was interesting about it?
The assassin was white, and in the 26 or 27 books, the guy's name is Mitch Rapp. The hero is a black man.
Mm.
But in the movie, they made him white.
Mm. That's interesting. Wow. Did they have a reasoning for that? Did they have an official reasoning?
No, they didn't.
But they don't want to make Captain America black, but they'll make this guy white.
Actually, they did make Captain America black.
Okay, and what was the backlash on that?
Well, see, here's the thing. I don't have any problem against Stan Lee.
Mm-hmm.
His idea of Black Panther in the old comic books was more like Killmonger.
Mm-hmm.
And in spite of that, they made him a fundamentally decent guy. So it wasn't his objective to go out and be a vigilante. He just wound up doing that because it was the right thing to do. He was trying to further the black cause.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They didn't make him like they did in this movie. All right. Captain America got replaced by a black for about 2 or 3 years in the comic books because Captain America got disenchanted with Richard Tricky Dick Nixon.
Mm.
So Stan Lee, when he was doing the comics back in the late 60s, early 70s, he put a black man in there to be Captain America.
Wow.
See, that's what's so interesting about what Hollywood does. You take a man, and then you take that LGBTQ that has a cause and an agenda, and what do they wind up doing? They turn it around and express their agenda. So notice what they have in the Black Pussy movie. They got black women fighting black men. They got the black men shown throughout the movie as drones. Even the king is a drone because his security is female, but they tell him what to do. They're always nagging him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Gaddafi had female bodyguards, but they didn't go around nagging him, telling him what to do.
Right.
It's just the imagery. See, the thing of it is I don't mind if somebody advances their cause. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind if women advance their cause. That's cool. If gays advance their cause, that's cool. Lesbians advance their cause. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But the point of the exercise is that I take umbrage about is they try to destroy traditional masculinity in the process. In other words, not just we have a section over here for apples and oranges, but we're going to destroy all pears.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, you want to do this, fine, but if you start talking about destroying masculinity, and see, masculinity is an interesting component of manhood. Masculinity is that part of manhood that determines what your behavioral standards are.
Mm-hmm.
Brave, courageous, dependable, forthright, trustworthy, dignified. You are courageous, you take care of your business, and you protect women and children, and you provide for them. You provide for the circle that's yours. Whoever's in that circle, you owe a duty of responsibility to. Duty, honor, integrity.
Mm-hmm.
See, and these clowns want to destroy that because you've seen Twitter. Whenever that man-woman thing gets up in there, there's the men that put in there, and then there are the soy boys that want to act like they're trolls and get in the middle of the whole thing, and then some stupid women that get in the middle of it. And when I say that, I mean stupid women, not women being stupid, because some of the women will defend the masculine position as strong as some of the guys will.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You've read that stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. I mean, you got a lot of people caping for their causes. Just like even with this thing with the Me Too stuff, I feel like that is going to backfire. Is in the process of backfiring.
Yeah, it is going to.
They overstepping their bounds. I mean, I know it sounds like, oh man, no, I really support people who are victims of sexual violence and abuse, but when you talking about like the Jamie Foxx stuff, when the lady said he slapped her with his penis. I'm like, what's going on, man? Like,
well, how is your face in a position to get slapped by his penis? Come on now.
That's what I was saying. Are you a midget or what? I'm trying to figure it. What y'all doing exactly?
The strongest argument I heard against the thing that'll show you where the backlash is coming from.
Uh-huh.
One woman told me, said, look, women spend so much time and money in beautification that they don't need it ruined for them by a select few who go off on men who react to our beautification efforts like we try to get them to react to them.
Right. So that confuses me.
Yeah, they do get their hair done, put the makeup on, everything else. They're not doing this for other women. If there's a straight woman, they're doing it to be attracted to men. That's what male and female, that's birds and the bees,
Right.
So when they go off on all this effort and the guy reacts to them, winks at them or smiles at them and say, oh, wow, you're looking good. They smile too. But when, somebody gets jacked around for reacting like they're trying to get them to react, they get mad about it too. Like I say, maybe they should have, since they want to get into this, have a little discreet badge, wear it around your neck. Well, I'm not interested, I don't roll like that or something. Okay, then let her go through the door on her own, and she'll get offended and open the doors for the ones that don't have the tag on.
That's right.
And then I thought of a joke on that, women and children first in the lifeboats, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the ones with the tags on, shove them out the lifeboat, say, we'll take the ones with no tags because we want to save them because they'll be more fun when it's over with. They'll appreciate it. We will be rewarded.
Uh-huh.
You take your old tacky behind and you go over there and play with the fish if you can.
Man, this is a lot of stuff to really digest and to think about. Why are you speaking of women, well, what is your take on the Alice Johnson pardon from a clemency thing from Donald Trump, the black woman from Memphis?
A disgrace.
Why you say that?
I think he was trying to do right, but why is he listening to airhead Kim Kardashian? She can't sing. She can't dance, apparently. The only thing I can see that she did was playing a junior grade porn flick with Ray J and show us that she's got cellulite, a whole lot of it on her flabby behind, which she seems to have trimmed up since then. And she makes $4.95, $7.95 a hit on, adult media, and the hotels and motels are on Comcast or DirecTV. That's how the family gets their money.
Wow.
And she's an airhead, So that makes her an authority on uh, prison reform. Well, let's take this other woman she's trying to get pardoned, who was a victim of sexual assault. Well, actually, it turns out she was a junior grade prostitute. She solicited this man who was kind of out of it to take her home. And then when he fell asleep, she shot him in the back of the head and robbed him. Yeah, great victimless thing. Now, I was talking to some boys, youth, yesterday, and what happened was, do you remember the Carruthers situation?
Yeah.
Some people got kidnapped and buried alive with their mothers under some caskets and some funerals.
Yeah. I mean, I think I was in fifth grade when that happened.
That Johnson woman was on the other side. She was tied up with that.
Oh, wow.
See, so this wasn't any one bag of cocaine deal. This woman went to trial on having 6,600 pounds of 95% pure cocaine. That's 3,000 kilos.
Wow.
She ran that racket from New Orleans up to Louisville to Atlanta to Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
All of the crack that was coming into the black community in this area was brought in through her machination. She ordered the dope. The money went to her. She sent the dope to the money to the Colombians. The dope went to her. She distributed to the street gangs. That woman caused a lot of folk to die by drive-bys. She caused a lot of people to die on hits. She caused a lot of people to OD. She caused a lot of crack babies. That was the facilitator. There is a McDonald. Why didn't he pardon McDonald? He got 25 years, just like he got life, just like she did.
Mm-hmm.
There's another woman person got 19 years. There were a bunch of witnesses that went into the federal witness protection program.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them, in return for their testimony, got 10 years.
Mm.
So we're not dealing with any one little bag of coke, some nonsense you picked up off of you heard it on Mike TV, who's got this thing that any drug crime is a victimless crime. You got a major drug dealer, a queen pin, a drug queen. And she should have gotten the death penalty if they had such a thing. She was that bad. And I'm sure I talked to one of the boys yesterday, and his uncle and a great aunt were one of the people that got buried alive.
Wow.
And there are some people that are glad she's out of jail because they want to run into her.
Mm.
But let me just say that. Now, I've got somebody just gave me a side call reminding that I've got something else I got to do. So let's wrap this up on this one. We can have another episode. But, that's me doing my pontifications for the day.
Well, yes, sir. Well, Judge, it's always an honor to have you bless us with your wisdom and insight and unique perspective on all things human and humane. I want to thank you in the words of the great Duke Ellington. We love you madly. Keep on producing and pushing, Judge. And
all right, brother. Keep doing it.
Yes, sir. We can find you at Judge. Is it at Judge Joe Brown? Okay.
At Judge Joe Brown TV on Twitter.
All right. Excellent. Take care, Judge. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, brother. Take it easy.
I will. Thanks.